I thought I'd use this time to reflect on what tools I found useful to guide me through some of the toughest challenges I've faced, so it's a bit of a personal story. Let me take you back to 2000 when I was working in crisis PR, managing serious incidents for clients such as Shell, Maersk, BP, Texaco and Danone. In 3 years we had some serious incidents: the end of final salary pensions for Maersk, England ran out of fuel because of Shell refinery blockages, the Russian submarine Kursk was the heaviest object raised from the deepest depth, and tankers kept splitting in half, spilling chemicals into our seas. I was on call 365 days of the year and carried a passport on me at all times. I often went to a disaster scene just in the clothes I was wearing. By 2002, I was really ill. My doctor said there was nothing medically wrong with me, it was just my work was to blame. Our bodies and brains are brilliant at telling us when things are getting a bit too much, but often we don't listen and soldier on trying to make the best of it. I was warned to make a lifestyle change, and that's exactly what I did. And I decided at that point that the thing I wanted most was a family, so I prioritised that. This is John, my stepdad. He's rather marvellous and has been a huge part of my life since I was 12. 5 years ago, he had a major stroke and spent 14 weeks in hospital fighting for his life. This experience was one of the toughest my family have faced. He was classified as having very little understanding for the first 6 weeks, and I learned how to sit at bedside with stillness, which is not something I find very easy at all. Now, I love a plan, but found that others in my family became stressed with my mega action spreadsheets and needed subtler support to make a decision. The most important skill I picked up was communication. The stroke has left my stepdad unable to speak, and I've developed skills in reading facial expression, body language, gestures, sounds, and can understand context from just a few words tapped onto an iPad. It's amazing how much you can tell the world without speaking any words at all. I found this book at an airport last year and loved it. It explains the conflicts which go on inside our brains between our human or rational self, chimp, that irascible teenage creature which creates all the noise in our heads, and computer, or a reference memory library. I'm a huge fan of psychology and explains really well why we worry ourselves to death at 4 a.m, and yet when we wake up in the morning it doesn't seem as bad. The book explains that the human rational self is dormant at night, and the chimp is free to do what it likes. If you have a worry, the chimp will feed on it because your human isn't there to balance. Yet when you wake, the human is awake too, and nothing seems as bad. The book recommends cognitive behaviour strategies such as letting the chimp know you've heard it. After all, telling a teenager to shut up will make it worse. But you tell the chimp that you're going to think about it in the morning when you can devise a plan. All the chimp wants to know is you've got a plan for the plan, then it's quite happy to go back to sleep. After reading the chimp book, I wanted to work harder on trying to change my thought patterns, so I decided to try hypnotherapy, which was part of a Paul McKenna course. It was really hard work, and over 6 weeks I learned how to use thought-field therapy to manage and change situations. This involved tapping my body at specific points and collarbone breathing. I listened to a song that made me really happy every morning and a hypnotherapy MP3 before bed. When I felt under stress, I pinched my thumb and forefinger together to anchor a positive and powerful memory I'd locked there. For me, it was British military fitness. I joined there unable to run, even for 30 seconds. I was so out of my comfort zone, scared to bits, embarrassed and felt really vulnerable. But in a year, I'd transformed my fitness and ended up a red bib. That's the most powerful I've ever felt, and that was what I locked between my thumb and forefinger. I expect hypnotherapy to do very much, but it made me really super positive, confident, motivated and inspired. I went to Iceland on my 40th birthday last July and stood looking at the view that you can see on the right hand side, and everything changed. I felt the closest I'd ever felt to nature and decided right then that I needed to leave my job. But my work felt meaningless. I realised I wanted to work somewhere that helped the planet. I told my hypnotherapist on my last session with her that I was going to leave my job, and she said she wasn't surprised. It was a very common outcome after hypnotherapy, as it helps you really see what you need in your life very clearly. I turned to tools once again this summer. My daughter became ill and my fears overtook me about what it could be. Whenever I feel times of stress, I always look for something to try and help me through the difficult times. This summer I decided to try mindfulness, and I found this app which helps you on a 15-minute guided meditation and helps you understand how to breathe properly and really notice your breath and nothing else. I breathe in a very shallow manner. In fact, when I was a toddler, My parents often thought I'd died in my sleep and the doctor was called out several times, so I've found it very restful to relearn how to breathe. It's helped immensely in not taking my fears for the future into the present. I've found it comforting and calming, and your breath is free and always available to help slow you down. Think about now and put future fears aside, and I really hope that all these stories and some of the tools that I've mentioned can help you, and I've got all the links to the books and the methodology if you need it.